Another episode of College Coffee Talk. Good morning. Having a little espresso on today's College Coffee Talk. So, I want to talk to you today about two, I guess, bad case studies. You know, a lot of times I feel like I'm almost bragging when I talk about all the college information that we share, but it's not all good. And of course, in full disclosure, I'm doing this not only to give you information, but also to promote our business. But things don't always work out great. And I've got two case studies right now that Pearl and I were discussing very early this morning. That so far the jury's still out. So hopefully we'll have a better ending than things are appearing to be concluding so far. But I want to talk to you about it just because you really need to be prepared for any type of unforeseen contingency or result, I guess, whenever you are coming up with your college list, applying to college, considering how you're going to finance college and all that. So we've got one client whose daughter is a returning student at a private Northeastern college, not Northeastern University, but a college in the Northeast. And her situation is that, number one, it's already the beginning of August, and her daughter's going back to school for her sophomore year, and she still has not received her financial aid award, which is odd. A lot of times returning students get their awards later than incoming freshmen, but this is really, really late, particularly because she's supposed to show up for class in a couple of weeks. So that is very stressful for our client, number one. Number two, she needs more money than she was awarded last year, and the reason for that is not just simply because she wants more, it's because her circumstances have changed. So sure, she was working full-time, now she's working part-time, but it's very seasonal. She's sort of a contract type of worker in the education field, and they're doing all sorts of stuff. They're racking up credit card debt to make ends meet. They listed their house for sale. She's really having a tough time. And she and Pearl have been going back and forth talking about whether she should appeal her financial aid award. And the response that I gave when Pearl asked me, what should we do, I said, there's nothing to appeal yet. She hasn't gotten an award. Notwithstanding that advice that Pearl, of course, agreed with, our client went up and talked to the financial aid office. It's a pretty substantial drive from where she lives to the college. And try to plead her case, which I felt was a little premature because, again, there's really nothing to say yet. You haven't been given a bad financial aid award and had a chance to explain your circumstances, why things should be different in the award. So the reason that they gave her, the ostensible reason that they gave her for not giving her financial aid award yet, is because they thought that they should have sent her some sort of asset verification letter, which colleges can do. But she really doesn't have much in the way of assets, so that doesn't really seem to make sense. So we're not really sure what's going to happen at this point, but it's been very, very stressful, and Pearl was on the phone with her for definitely 45 minutes to an hour this morning at some ungodly time, like 6:30, because that was the only time they could get together. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. Second situation is looking a little bit bleaker. Another client who lives in another state, not New York, and their son is returning for his second year of college at another private college that is in the mid-Atlantic. The issue here is that he got a terrible financial aid award for his second year, his sophomore year. And the reason that we appealed this is based on a couple of things. Number one, the financial aid forms that we filled out indicated that their income was much, much lower this year for his sophomore year. So his financial aid award should have been adjusted from last year. By the way, last year's was terrible. This year they gave the same award. So lower income. The second factor is that the family now has another child in college. And the reason that is so significant is because that affects in the formulas, in the specifically the expected family contribution, that really, really, in our client's favor, positively affects their EFC. So it doubles their eligibility, in other words. But this college, I'm not naming it now, but if things don't turn out great, I guess I will start throwing names around. This college didn't factor in either the lower income or the second kid in college factors, and gave the same award as last year, which is just nuts. So, under our coaching, our client, spoke to the financial aid office about the situation. They said, yes, you can absolutely send us an appeal. So we wrote the appeal letter, and we sent it up, and that was, I think, right before July 4th. So there's delay, and then finally, the client's kid, the sophomore, went into the financial aid office over the summer, to his credit, and sat down not with his financial aid counselor, but with someone else who because his person wasn't around, and was told in sum and substance that they really don't have the funds available for him this year, because they over-enrolled some people, which colleges do. I just read an article the other day about how, I think it was UC Irvine did that. They unadmitted like 700 or 800 kids or something. So colleges will do that, which of course is just part of the. They don't really brag about this, but that's kind of par for the course. My issue is, why did they even have us go through the whole appeal process if they didn't have the money to begin with? It's totally BS. Plus, it's not like we knew this applying to the school. I don't think they ever disclosed anything like this. So it's a real bad smelling or bad taste in the mouth type of bait and switch thing, which I find really, really, I don't know, unethical in sum and substance. There, I don't like it at all. So what are we going to do? I don't know. I'm trying to write another letter that's going to go up the chain. So I don't think that the client spoke to the right person, the decision maker, which generally the directors of financial aid try to insulate themselves from all this stuff. But I think the last shot is going to be reaching out to the actual director, maybe even showing up and making an appointment to plead their case. The other thing I suggested was, why don't we throw in an application to a rival school and get in and get money from that school and show it to the college where the client is attending. He's got pretty good grades, 3.6, 3.7, so he shouldn't have any problems getting into another school, the one that we identify, which is cross town from the school that he's currently attending. So these are sort of desperate Hail Mary types of moves, but I'm very concerned about it. So I wanted to share that because, again, my philosophy is, you need to expect the unexpected, the black swan, and just be prepared for anything. And you have to understand that, even though the two colleges that are in question here with these two case studies are the kids' top choices, you really need to be prepared to at least bluff or maybe even actually walk away if things don't work out. There was recently an article about a chiropractor in New York City and his wife, who they were both in business together, and they had two kids in college, and they jumped off a bridge together just to get out from the crushing debt that they had incurred, not only for themselves but for their kids, not just for college but also for private school. And there are things that are far more important than staying at your top choice school. So that's another sort of underlying theme here. But in the meantime, we're going to really pursue these two cases to their ultimate conclusion, and I will update you and let you know what happened. Keeping my fingers crossed for both guys. If you have any questions or any similar experiences, or you've heard about stuff like this, or you have any advice, please pop them in comments here. Please share this with anyone you think needs to hear this information, because I know there's a lot of people who go through this stuff, and we don't always cover it. Media doesn't really cover this stuff either. But I'm kind of curious about this because I have a sense that there's a lot of this going on, and I just kind of hear about things, anecdotally, piecemeal here and there, but I'd like to hear some more about it. So, all right, that's going to wrap up this edition of College Coffee Talk. Thanks a lot for watching. We're going to be getting back to our regular schedule more toward the end of this month. Had a little bit of summer vacation time and family stuff, and now we're back and working with seniors on their college applications and essays and all that. We've got boot camp coming up, which I guess I will I'll post at some point once we fill it up with our already current clients. If we have space, we'll be opening up to new clients. That is coming up at I believe August 19th and August 20th. Is to help kids do their applications and their essays and their extracurriculars and just pick colleges and manage the whole process. All right, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.